John, we got questions posted. We got answers coming.
I mean, this is probably the most insane fans forum. And there's like 30 or 40 messages here. We'll try to get to as many as we can. This one is from Mark Schwartz. He says, I don't think the Padres have even started to tap Machado's marketability with our neighbors in Mexico.
Well, the Padres have tried to plant their flag in Mexico a lot over a long period of time. Larry Lucchino, I think, was really the first one that started it, but I think that's a long process. But the Padres, they're projecting 3 million fan support this year. That's absolutely phenomenal. I mean, if they get 3 million, that means they're going to have a ton of sellouts, which is going to mean it's going to be very hard to wedge people into the stadium. The big issue, and you didn't answer the question, are you going to pay Manny Machado 10 years, 400 million? 40 million per season, or maybe they should take Hacksaw's plan and just offer him 5 years, 200 million till you get to age 36, and you can always put an option in for the 6th year or the 7th year, etc. I'd much rather see that. I hope this does not get messy. I hope this does not get ugly. I hope this does not bust up the community support. And I hope it doesn't become the way Manny exited the Orioles and exited Dodger Stadium.
Yeah. Well, I think, like I said, I think he's a mature man. He understands his place. He's learned, I think, also by being a mentor to Tatis. He was like Tatis was when he was in his early 20s. That gives him a little bit of perspective. I have confidence that Peter Seidler is going to make this work. This is just a little bit of gamesmanship on how they negotiate. I'm not worried about it, even though Padres Twitter is freaking out right now.
This guy co-hosting with me, doing this with his heart. Next question, please.
All right. So this is another comment. I think this is a good one from Wolfpack 1977. He says, hopefully they keep Mark Grant and Orsillo as a broadcast crew, and maybe Tony Gwynn Jr. like listening to him on the radio.
Well, I think the broadcast crews and the whole structure with whatever MLB comes up with to replace Bally Sports will stay the same. They're not making any changes in terms of the quality and the content of the broadcast. It's just the logistics of how they're going to produce the broadcast and how much it's going to cost the fans to be able to go get the broadcast and where is that broadcast going to be. Stay tuned for details. That's probably coming in the next 6 weeks.
I mean, you're a professional broadcaster. I mean, what's your opinion of the squad, the team that the Padres have in the booth?
They've had some really good TV broadcast crews, guys that I liked. I first came here, I liked Dave Campbell a lot, and he had an edge to him. And maybe they didn't like him in the front office at times, but I like those guys. They ran through a whole series of other guys. At one point they used to do a simulcast. I mean, they would rotate. Ted and Jerry would be in and out of the TV booth to the radio side, etc. I like Orsillo, and I like Mudcat. Sometimes he kind of goes off on a tangent, and I have to reach through the phone and screen and pull him back.
Mm-hmm.
They're good. I sometimes when you change guys or you keep rotating different guys in during the course of the season, I don't like that. The Dodgers have got like 7 different guys that are part of their television broadcast crew, and I like Joe Davis a great deal. But I like the consistency and the quality and the information that is presented. And by having all these different guys jumping in, some are quality broadcasters, unique personalities. Some guy are raw, some guy are really rough to listen to. So I like what they've done here in San Diego with this collective group, and I can never remember or ever understand why Donnie O was let go by the Boston Red Sox, because he was an institution at Fenway Park.
Yeah, I mean, he's great. We're lucky to have him. I just have so much fun watching the games because I think Orsillo and Grant are terrific, and they're going to get a bobblehead night, this year, which is great. And, even the pregame, postgame guys, I mean, they all do a good job. Tony Gwynn Jr., young man, he's been very good as well. Just reminds us so much of his father whenever he speaks. I mean, but it's just great to be a Padre fan with those guys kind of all around, the broadcast.
It is unique, though, to sit there and listen, because some nights Mark Grant has given advice as to how I should take care of my golden retriever.
Well, that's usually when the score is like 8-1.
And there's other nights he's talking about my favorite Mexican restaurant, or how do you prepare this pasta with peppers? And that's a little bit off the baseball track.
I like that. I mean, because it makes me smile. It makes me laugh, especially when the game is kind of, lopsided. So I say more of that. I mean, that's because I listen to other broadcasts, like when I'm traveling, and the guys are just so monotone, just so plain. And I think, the guys who have in San Diego, I'm happy with them.
Yeah. And you can't analyze every ball on strike because that'll drive you crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, next question.
Okay, so this is from Angel Barragan Jr. He says, Karros, Piazza, Mondesi, Nomo, Hollinsworth. How the hell did that happen?
Well, great organization. The Dodgers, John and I have talked about this. The Dodgers were the front runners. I mean, not only did they break the color barrier with Jackie Robinson back in 1947, but the Dodgers are the ones that really made the first incursion into Mexico. And the Dodgers made the first incursion on the Pacific Rim, whether that's Japan or whether that's Korea. The Dodgers did enormous things in Cuba. And obviously, the Dodgers opened the first academy in the Dominican Republic. They opened the door for all these players to, quote, get off the islands in the Caribbean. So, I mean, Dodgers have been ahead of the curve by developing all these great international players, and they've scouted well. They've historically the Dodger way. That was how Branch Rickey called the operation of the franchise. The Dodgers way, very successful for a long period of time. But John, they opened up a lot of doors in a lot of different venues to give a lot of young men the ability to get to Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great franchise. They got a great history. I mean, when I grew up a Giants fan in the 70s, that was a frustrating time. And the Dodgers were terrific, and they always churned out outstanding talent. And to your point, they were groundbreaking in terms of giving different categories of players, different categories of ethnicities opportunity. And you have to tip a hat to that organization for it. The question now is the player development in 2023 the same player development that we had in the 90s when it was Karros and Piazza and everyone else? It's a different group of people, but the philosophy, we'll see. Is it the same or not? I'm curious.
Everybody has opened up international academies. A large proponent of major league teams do stuff in Japan, do stuff in Korea. Getting the Fernandos out of Mexico is a little bit of a different challenge because the rules to purchase those players is very, very different. But I mean, the Dodgers have been at the forefront of player development for a long period of time. Next question.
Okay, there's just so many here. And let's take a look at here. This is another one from Angel that I thought was good. He says, I lived in LA, and thanks to the Fire Stick, I'm able to see the Padres on TV. You know what the Fire Stick is? Are you in that world?
Yeah, kind of. But no, that's great. I mean, you're probably one of the few and far between that has that ability to see it. But I do think MLB baseball is going to do a really good job with the structure of whatever the new TV contract will be. Now that Ballet Sports looks as if it's getting out of the baseball business in the next 6 weeks. We'll have details on that coming, I would think, before opening day.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to finding out because I've got to reconfigure my package. I've got YouTube TV now, so I can get CBS Sports Network so I can watch the Aztec games. So the good news is that basketball season ends right when baseball season starts. So I might flip from YouTube TV to the direct TV, but again, it might change again. Everything's up in the air.
Well, the best part for me was the Super Bowl Sunday ended, and on Monday, everybody reported to the Cactus League and the Grapefruit Circuit. And for a sports junkie who loves information, that's it. Got another question or two here you want to throw at me?
Yeah, and this is from Mark Schwartz. He says, it would be brutal to play baseball in Vegas during the summer.
Unless it was a dome stadium. And, that's one of the things they're arguing about as we talked about what's going on the Sun Coast in Florida. Dome stadium in Tampa. But then what does that do to the cost factor? It's a big issue. Miami built a dome stadium, the new Marlins Park, and it still has not brought people back because the team hasn't been very good. So it is a complex issue to build. But I think if it is a 30,000 seat stadium in Las Vegas, it's going to have to be air conditioned and be a dome because you're absolutely correct. It would be just brutal, as witnessed by Phoenix, Arizona Diamondbacks, dome stadiums, multiples of them. Because I used to broadcast Phoenix Giants baseball in the old Pacific Coast League, and that was outdoors, summer nights, hot slab cement stadium that just baked. And I don't care if it was 8 o'clock at night, it was still 102 degrees in a stadium, a cement stadium that had baked all day long. It was warm.
Yeah. I mean, that was back also in the day when they played outdoors in Houston, with the Colt 45s and all the mosquitoes and the humidity. I mean, it was just nuts. They got to go to a dome stadium. Where was this one here? Oh yeah. This is from Mark Schwartz. He says, Lee, where do you think Ohtani will sign next year?
Oh, that's open for debate because Otani is being very closed mouth about his wants and wishes. But you know what? The blueprint that John and I examined with all the data and the way they handle the contracts and who left and who was not replaced and how they have configured their roster this year, I got to believe Dodger Stadium. I got to believe there is a reason that the Dodgers let all these guys go. Reason why they're going to have as many as 5 rookies plus 2 rookie pitchers on that opening day roster, and the reason why they got below the luxury tax threshold because I think they're going to make the run at Otani. It'll be devastating if the Angels lose him, but ownership says, Arte Moreno said when he decided he's going to keep the franchise, my priority is to re-sign him, keep him here, and try to put a much better team around him. That's easier said than done because it takes free agency, it takes the farm system, etc. But the Angels are in the run. I don't think he's going to go anywhere else. I don't think he's an East Coast guy. The wild card might be Seattle because they historically did a lot of things, starting with Ichiro Suzuki in the Pacific Rim and in Japan. Maybe Seattle, but I gotta believe it's going to be the Dodgers or the Angels.
Yeah, I think those are likely places. I mean, Padre fans are wishing he'd come here, but the Giants have a lot of payroll flexibility. I mean, why not San Francisco? It's in West Coast City. It's a international cosmopolitan area. That would be a nice spot for them.
Do they have a good team to put around them? I mean, when the Angels go to make your presentation, and here's our roster, and it's made up of 21 guys who are free agent acquisitions, who are one-year rentals. That's not a sign of a great organization. That's an organization that's always in scramble mode. And, we hit the jackpot 2 years ago with a bunch of guys we signed on short-term contracts. Last year, it fell apart. Now we got all these new guys coming in one-year rentals. I think that's a bit of a reach. If you're asking me, I think Dodger Stadium over Angel Stadium for Showtime. Really do. Hey,